the 10-point must system. It's been a brilliant success so far. As to no headgear for the first time ever at the World Championships.
Exactly, Colin. The evolved rule system that the AIBA have introduced for this 2013 World Boxing Championships, absolutely brilliant. It's moved the whole platform on a pace. What we've got in front of us now are two very, very sparky fighters indeed. Fans will notice that no headgear, of course. Well, as we discussed, Colin, recent tests have shown, early tests have shown, that they're potentially much safer without head guards fighters, and it brings on a different mindset for them. You know, they're able to come at this with a more intense and exciting attitude, and of course the power in the shots, which is part of the scoring system, is going to make for a more intense, exciting watching experience. Well, the pride of a nation resting on the shoulders of the Kazakh fighter, Birzhan ZHAKYPOV, but of course he's up against a tough opponent in the Cuban, VEITIA SOTO.
Well, ZHAKYPOV looking to get through to the finals. He took bronze in 2005 in China. Extremely experienced athlete in the red. Well-known figure in Kazakhstan, as indeed all of the Kazakh boxers are. They have almost rock star status over here. But it's the Cuban who's trying to push him into the corner here, a bit more aggressive. As we've seen, the judges are scoring aggression very highly, and indeed quality blows are important. That's some good counter-punching there from ZHAKYPOV.
Well, what we've got to bear in mind, of course, is that Soto's already had a win against ZHAKYPOV. He beat him in the World Championships in 2011. So, in terms of psychological advantage, Soto comes to this with a lot of cards stacked in his favour, and you can see he's starting to get more intense, trying to close the ring down. But you have to say that Birzhan ZHAKYPOV has just got a very relaxed style, still very confident, still very composed, even with that win against him in mind.
Now just 40 seconds of this first round to go. So far it's been fairly even. The Cuban has been trying to stalk down the Kazakh athlete here, the #1 ranked athlete in this tournament. But you can see the class of ZHAKYPOV. So far he's been very elusive, difficult to hit.
Great lateral movement, slipped so many punches. The Cuban is very, very fast. Of course, he's a southpaw fighter. That's going to make life hard for ZHAKYPOV, because ZHAKYPOV, of course, is a southpaw fighter. So they're both trying to move the same way. But just look at the action step up here towards the end of the round. And the Kazakh fighter really getting into the range here and starting to land some big shots.
So that's it, end of round one. And it'll be interesting to see how the judges score this. The Cuban marching forward early on, but ZHAKYPOV finishing with a great flourish at the end there. Let's have a little look back at the action here. Early on, it was the Cuban who was marching forward, Will.
Well, he was, and he tried to close the ring down. He knew that ZHAKYPOV was very mobile, was going to try and use the whole ring area to keep out of contact range, which he did very well throughout the round. Just reversed the momentum towards the closing seconds of the last minute of that round and started to land his own shots.
Well, the judges' scorers, they see it as 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, all to ZHAKYPOV, who indeed looked the more powerful and indeed had a great flourish at the end of that last round. So he's one round up, 10-9, the scoring system, slightly different than some professional 10-point must systems. Has 10-9 close, 10-8 dominant, 10-7 total dominance, and a 10-6 score would be an overmatch. So we're out for the second round here. The Cuban in blue, ZHAKYPOV, the Kazakh athlete, and you can hear the drums are starting. The Kazakh crowd are finding their voice now. He is fighting out of the red corner.
Well, this first of our sessions today has really started off very crisply. Two very highly rated fighters. In fact, the Kazakh is rated #1 in the world rankings. Soto, the Cuban, at #5. So two seeded fighters here. And of course, the judges in their scoring will be looking at number of quality blows, technique, domination, style and form. So rather than just making light contact and scoring points, judges are looking for serious intent here. They're looking to see those blows land cleanly and with impetus.
Good right hand there from the Kazakh athlete, and again he gets through the guard of the Cuban, who's just dropping his hands a little bit. Not anymore.
Unperturbed by all of it, the Kazakh fighter. Really relaxed. And just keeping Soto on his toes. The Cuban having to work really hard to hunt him down here, and it's a great use of ring space. ZHAKYPOV moving very well laterally. Rolls out from very tight positions. Then he moves off very quickly, trying not to get caught on the way. Soto really trying to close the ring down. ZHAKYPOV very much behind the driver's seat here. They've both got very, very stiff jabs. Both right hands, very hard, very straight, very fast.
Well, cheers of Birzhan ring around this auditorium here. Just about 30 seconds to go now. And again, the Cuban has been very much on the front foot, attacking all the time. But ZHAKYPOV, so many clean blows he's hit.
Well, you've got a contrast of styles here. The Cuban, very tight, very orthodox. The Kazakh, very fluid, very creative. And of course, that makes for a very heady mix here. Of course, the Kazakh moving off and being able to score on the counter.
Well, that's the end of round number 2, and the Kazakh fans, certainly, they know who won that round. Will the judges agree? Let's have a look back, Will.
ZHAKYPOV keeping range, keeping distance, forcing the Cuban to come in. When he does, he counters, scores with those heavy blows. So although it looks like the Cuban's doing a lot of work here, the Kazakh fighter ZHAKYPOV landing those very, very intense, dominating strikes.
Well, this is how the judges see it again. 10-9 across the board for ZHAKYPOV. And I think that's a fair reflection. 20-18, he's up at the moment from all 3 of the judges. And what it means now is that VEITIA SOTO of Cuba, well, he has been the aggressor so far, but he's going to have to really start to get through with those punches and go into 5th gear. He's got to lay it all down on the line here. This is for the World Championship Finals at stake. 1 round to go. Kazakhstan in red, Cuba in blue. The Kazakh is leading 2-0 at the moment.
Well, Soto has the work to do in this round. He's been no slouch in the previous 2, it has to be said. But the strategy of ZHAKYPOV just slightly has the edge, and he's showing all of the skills that the judges want to see in a bout at semi-final level. Quality blows, great technique, and just the way he's been able to move around the ring and keep out of trouble and work the counter shows a domination. Well, at semi-final level, this is bordering on a masterclass, especially against a Cuban fighter. The Cubans historically have always had great showings at AIBA, and you know, Soto has had a victory against ZHAKYPOV previously. But what we're seeing here now is really joined-up boxing.
Well, the Cuban's throwing everything in this so far. He's charging forward. Again, the Kazakh just picks his spot beautifully. The winner of this will take on the winner of Rodriguez and Fleecy, which will be the next bout coming up in this afternoon session.
Well, drawing towards the end of the round, ZHAKYPOV really exhibiting technical class, really giving the crowd here something to cheer for. Just look at those quality combinations, right, left, big left hand comes across, scoring heavily. The Cuban hasn't had an answer for it. The right hand has kept him at distance, at range, and he's had to work just to get into target range.
So we're just under a minute now of this final 3-minute round, and the Kazakh athlete as elusive as ever. Looks like he's just stepped in the ring, barely broken sweat. He's in incredible condition. Now the question is, will he turn it on for the fans? He's almost certainly won it now. Dropping his hands, showing off a little bit, trying to draw in the Cuban. He obviously feels extremely confident.
Well, you can see the confidence level of ZHAKYPOV as the round closes down, really exhibiting those great technical boxing skills. This is verging on a masterclass here. It's a great performance, a confident performance from the Kazakh fighter. And you have to say that, you know, no lack of effort from Soto. The Cuban is a class act himself. And really, ZHAKYPOV laying it down here.
That's it, the end of round 3, the end of the first semi-finals. And again, it looked like ZHAKYPOV has done enough, but we'll have to wait for the referee to give us the final decision. And for ZHAKYPOV, it's a big moment. 29 years old, he looks like he's about to march into his first ever major final, despite being the #1 ranked fighter in the world. So for him, it'll be gold or silver that he'll taste, assuming, of course, there hasn't been a bit of a shock decision here.
Well, as we get a chance to reflect on that slow-mo there, you saw the domination from ZHAKYPOV.
And it's reflected in the win. It's 10-9 across the board, 30-27 for all of the judges' scorecards. It's a winner by 3-0. It's a unanimous decision for the KAZ.